There was a war that does not appear in your Bible. A war that split the sky in three and unleashed chaos upon the earth. It was not between men. It was not for territories, riches, or empires. It was between eternal beings who broke the laws of the universe. Angels who fell by desire, giants who were born without a soul, and messengers who descended from the throne, not to save, but to destroy. This was not just a celestial war. It was the first war upon the earth, an ancestral conflict that occurred before any civilization, before any kingdom, before even the flood. A war that faced heaven against its own creation. This is the story of a celestial betrayal, of a sacred judgment, and of an absolute reset. The story that was buried deep in time. The story that almost no one dared to tell. This is not myth. This is not fantasy. This is the war of the three heavens. This is Código Divino. And welcome to the beginning of the end. The silence before the scream. No one remembers the exact moment it began, because the greatest wars do not start with screams. They begin with silence. In the early days when humanity was still young, God had placed a group of guardian angels upon the earth. They were not gods. They were not judges. Only watchers, the watchers. But among them something changed. Semjasa, their leader, no longer wanted to observe from afar. He wanted to feel, he wanted to taste. And with him, another 199 made a decision that would alter the balance of all creation. At the top of Mount Hermon, they sealed a pact, a vow of rebellion. They descended, they took human women, they joined with them. And from that forbidden union were born creatures that should never have existed, the Nephilim giants. Colossi deformed by the mixture of two worlds, born without guidance, without a complete soul, with only one need to devour. At first, they were worshipped as gods, but soon their footsteps made the earth tremble. Where they walked, they left ruins. Where they breathed peace, died. And meanwhile, heaven watched in silence, until that silence was broken. The judgment of the Most High prayers were no longer whispers. Now they were screams drowned in fear. Men, women, elders, children cried out from caves, destroyed temples, cursed lands. They begged for something. They begged for justice. Creation was broken. Blood covered the fields. The cities were under the rule of giants, and the watchers, those who were supposed to observe from above, were now fathers of monsters. But in the highest place, the Most High did not sleep. He had seen it all, from the first forbidden gaze of Semjasa to the last roar of the Nephilim devouring men. God did not raise his voice. He did not shout. He did not stir. He simply spoke, and with a single command, the heavens tore open. From dimensions man cannot imagine, emerged four entities wrapped in light and judgment. Michael, the one who carries the sword of fire, the leader of the heavenly armies. His presence made the atmosphere tremble. Where he steps, time stands still. His mission to chain the traitor. Gabriel, the angel of purification, bearer of judgment against corrupt flesh. His gaze pierces souls. His presence was fire that does not burn, but destroys his mission to eliminate the Nephilim, Raphael, the healer and eternal gravedigger. But this time, he did not come to heal. He came to seal, to bury the fallen. His mission to imprison Azazel in the eternal abyss. Uriel, the one who reveals destiny. He brought no sword. He brought words the world was not yet ready to hear. He went to see Noah and told him about the water that would come, about the total purge. Heaven did not send an army. It did not need legions. 4 were enough, because they carried the authority of the throne, and with them came decrees written in fire. The names of the traitors were engraved, their fates sealed. The time of mercy had ended, Heaven no longer watched. Now it punished. And so, while the earth breathed one last breath before judgment, the three heavens were aligned for the final clash, and the war was about to begin. The War of the Three Heavens. No one remembers the thunder of the first step, because this war did not begin with noise. It began with a gaze, a transgression, a forbidden desire between heaven and earth. 200 angels descended, watchers tasked with observing, but they chose to possess. They swore a rebellion atop Mount Hermon, and with human women they engendered something that was not meant to exist. The Nephilim giants, of flesh and power. Colossi, born from an impossible union. Creatures without a complete soul, with eternal hunger, with shapeless fury. The earth was corrupted. The heavens remained silent, until the cry of humanity reached the eternal throne. And then God spoke. He did not send armies. He did not form squads. He simply uttered 4 names: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel. They did not descend to argue. They descended to execute Michael, the commander. Fell like living fire. He sought out Semjeza, and without speaking a word, chained him with chains made of judgment. The leader of the rebellion was buried beneath mountains sealed with fire. Raphael descended to the desert, pursued Azazel. The corrupter dragged him through stones and cast him into the abyss, imprisoned, darkened. Until the day of final judgment, the Watchers did not fight. They could not. Their sentence was already written. Gabriel did not raise his sword. He sowed something worse: confusion, and the Nephilim began to destroy each other. Colossal creatures clashed like mountains, blows that split the earth. Screams that made the air tremble, giants devouring giants, cursed children of a forbidden mixture, falling one after another. Some cried, others roared, and some only looked to the sky, asking why that same sky now wanted to erase them. Uriel was the last. He did not come to fight. He came to warn. He visited a righteous man, Noah, and he said, "Prepare yourself, for the earth will be washed completely." And so the water came. It was not just rain. It was liquid judgment, a decree that fell from heaven as punishment. Cities were swallowed, colossal bodies floated, screams were extinguished beneath the waves. The first heaven, the fallen angels, was sealed. The second heaven, the Nephilim, was destroyed. The third, the faithful, returned to the heights in silence. The water receded, the heavens calmed. The earth, mutilated and empty, remained in silence. But silence does not mean peace. Because although the bodies of the Nephilim were dragged by the flood, their spirits were not destroyed. They did not ascend to heaven. They did not return to the abyss. They remained here between worlds, wandering as shadows, as echoes of forbidden blood, as curses without bodies. Demons, Enoch called them. Wandering spirits that hate humanity because they will never again be part of it. And the Watchers are chained, sealed in dark prisons, beneath mountains, beneath deserts, waiting, not for their freedom, but for the day of their final judgment, because God did not forget, and the eternal punishment is not yet complete. Since then, cultures remembered fragments, giants in the mountains, gods that fell from the sky, beings that taught fire war and sorcery, stories that were called myths, but that were born from the memory of a war that never should have existed. And although many have forgotten it, the echo remains in nightmares, in spiritual cracks, in men who play at being gods again. Because what was locked away still exists, what was purged still whispers, and what fell from heaven has not said its last word. What if the war was not the end, but only the beginning of something that is yet to awaken? This was the war of the three heavens. But if you made it this far, you know that this did not begin or end with a war. Everything is connected. The Nephilim, the fallen angels, the forbidden knowledge that was shared before the flood, and the tower that was built to reach the heavens again. It is all part of the same story. A story of rebellion, of punishment, and of warning. We have already spoken in other videos of the origin of the Nephilim, of the fall of the Watchers, and of the construction of the Tower of Babel. And if you have not seen them, now is the time. Because each piece, each story is not isolated. It is a fragment of the same puzzle. A map that points to the place where it all began, and maybe to the place where it could all happen again. So if this resonated with you, I invite you to explore the other chapters, because understanding them separately is interesting, but understanding them together is revealing. Leave your opinion in the comments. Do you believe this war was the origin of all spiritual evil on Earth? Or was it just the first echo of something greater? Subscribe if you want to continue exploring the forgotten passages, the hidden truths, and the mysteries that still breathe beneath the surface. Because what is coming goes beyond history. It goes to the soul.